Good morning. My name is Baba Anthony, and I am with Oconrad Sode Temple here in Miami, Florida. Let us start this morning with our morning prayers. Alolo me, cool piece of water, pure tranquil water. This was the Ifa for Orumila, who's going to take Olomi Tutu, owner of Cool Water, as his wife. Ifa says it is taboo. Eddie Gallo will never allow Olomi Tutu to die cruel cheap death. Olomi Tutu and death have entered into a covenant. Ashe. Cool home, cool roads, cool Eshu, and cool Ori. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Ibashe Akamara, Ibashe Olodumare, Ibashe Olumina Lady Twin, Ibashe Akoda, Ibashe Asheda, Ibashe Eshu, Ibashe Obatala, Ibashe Oya, Ibashe to all of the Iramoli on the left hand side of Olodumare, Ibashe to all of the Iramoli on the right hand side of Olodumare, Ibashe to my mother, Ibashe to my father, Ibashe to my Oluo, Ibashe to my Oyukona, Ibashe to my Baba Ifa, Ibashe to all of my brothers and sisters in Ifa and Orisha, Ibashe to my wife, Ibashe to my children. Ogunda warning, the ocean is filled to the brim, the lagoon is filled to capacity. Alasan is going to Asan, Alasan is going to Asan, the owl at the top of the rock. The elders thought over the matter and realized it was no longer favorable. They used their mustaches to cover their faces, spread their beards firmly across their chests, used the declarations of Ifa to Ishe and to the head of every oral cult in Ileife. What is one She? Olodumare is one She. It is Ishe we have to peace for pleasing in Orisha. Once Ori is one She. It is Ishe we have to peace for pleasing in Orisha. One's mother is one She. It is Ishe with peace for pleasing in Orisha. One's father is one She. It is Ishe with peace for pleasing in Orisha. Male genital organ, female genital organs, one She. It is Ishe with peace for pleasing in Orisha. Please let us appease Ishe. It is Ishe with peace for pleasing in Orisha. Ishe is the father of all Tutu. It is Ishe with peace for pleasing in Orisha. The Ishe of our mother's lineage, the Ishe of our father's lineage. May they have a say in all that we do. It is Ishe we also peace for pleasing in Orisha. Oh shit, I'm back. Olumila says, let us be thankful. I say we need to be thankful. They asked the rats, fish, birds, and beasts to be thankful. They all asked why. Olumila responded, because of gratuitous feeding and drinking, which you all enjoy. They all said there was no need to be thankful. Consequences of this ingratitude leads to the glorious death of rats, fish, birds, and beasts. Olumila says, let us be thankful. I say we need to be thankful. They asked the human beings to be thankful. The human beings asked why. Olumila responded, because of gratuitous feeding and drinking, which human beings enjoy. It was only human beings that said there was a need to be thankful. Ifa, I have come to show my gratitude. If one has shown benevolence, then we must show our gratitude. Ifa, I have come to show my gratitude. Ashe. Awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure, adupe ana wa boy, toribo olodumare, awa dupe, awa bure. Awa dupe o, awa bure, adupe ana wa bore, toribo orien. Awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure, adupe ana wa bore, toribo erumole. Awa dupe. Awabure, awadupe o, awabure, adupe ana awambore, tori bole gundosa. Ashe. Erosoni tutu. Pounded yam without soup can be difficult to consume. This was the Rebraodcast for a tutu, child of a body they goon. He whose attitude is not acceptable. He who is full of bad character. He whose bad attitude prevents him from coming to Ifa's domain. Now we come to solicit on behalf of the Tutu. We come to beg on behalf of the Tutu. Father, please be patient and forgive this provocation. Olumila responded, those who come to beg on behalf of the Tutu, those who come to solicit on behalf of the Tutu. How many children does Ifa have that he would cast one out? Those who come to beg on behalf of the Tutu. Ashe. Ofumeshi. Hey, Paodu. The king who molds human beings, the king who molds human destiny, the king who supports and assists human beings, the king who molds human character. The king who molds human beings is the name given to Obatala. The king who molds human destiny is the name given to Ifa, the king who molds, who supports and assists human beings, the name given to one's Ori. The king who molds human characters, the name given to Olodumare. Orangume, you're calling you by your formula, which is known as Hepaodu. You are the ones who help in organizing one's life to be rewarding. You are the ones who help in organizing one's life to be fruitful. Please come and help me organize my life, for it to be blessed with wealth, for it to be blessed with children, for it to be blessed with all the array of life. It is impossible to see the depth of the sea. Do not let people see evil in me. Do not let me be disgraced. It is impossible to see the depth of the river. All what I do, Ifa, please do not let people dig up evil in me. Orangu Benji, I call you by your formula, which is known as Hepaodu. Please let my matters be fruitful and rewarding. Ashe. Oshetor. Now we call on Oshetor to help with our prayers to go to heaven. Oshetor. Tiny of the feet are two boots. Stripe of chameleon. It's not big enough to be used as headgear. Had it been enough to use this headgear, I'd have taken it home and adorned my head with it. This was the E5 for Awudela. We're going on a spiritual mission to EJ Blue Land. We're calling a locust bean teller and we pay her money. We're calling Awudela with respect in EJ Blue Land. Ashe. Oshetor. Kegen Ibagisa, the extra stripes, the tree is the one who cast Ifa for Orumila is going to receive Iba, reverence, and Ashe from Olodumare. If an owl says that we shall be wealthy, we shall surely be wealthy. Kegen Ibagisa, in the mouth of an owl resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an owl. If an owl says that we shall have good spouse, we shall surely have good spouse. Kegen Ibagisa, in the mouth of an owl resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an owl. If an owl says that we shall have good children, we shall certainly have good children. In the mouth of an owl resides Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an owl. If an owl says that we shall have all the array of life, we shall certainly have all the array of life. In the mouth of an owl, Iba and Ashe, in the mouth of an owl, say. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá máa wí o, ẹrù mọ̀lẹ́ ó bà, Ifá ó bà o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá máa wí o, ẹrù mọ̀lẹ́ ó bà, Ifá ó bà o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Timo duro, Timo dure, Timo bere, Timo dure, Timo kule, Timo dure, Timo joko, Timo dure, Ere Timo suoritibo. That says if we stand up and pray, if we bend down and pray, if we kneel down and pray, if we sit down and pray, no matter what, our Ori and Olodumare will hear our prayers. Ashe, let us hold our Oris. Ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni mojilo uromo fomo ori eni laure eni. Ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni mojilo uromo fomori ori eni laure eni bobo ire itasu Ifá ó gbà olóró àti bàjájú. Ifá ó gbà olóró ó ṣe àwò ẹ̀là Ifá ti gbọ́. Ashe. Good morning and welcome to our Ifa Temple service. Again, my name is Baba Anthony. I am with Okanran Sode Temple in Miami, Florida. Today's topic is Ifa and self-care. As Ifa devotees, we should understand that it is important for us to always be working towards assisting others. Sometimes, however, there are people who get to a point where they're doing so much for others that they are neglecting themselves. Well, I'm here to tell you, the easy aspect of all this, or easiest thing to think about, is that one, we should never, ever be neglecting ourselves. We should never be in a place where we put ourselves to the side and only focus on others, right? We should know that Ifa always wants us to be benevolent. There's no doubt about that at any point. But at the same time, we should always be focusing on, uh, doing as much for ourselves just as we are doing for others, right? So let's jump into our first Odu. Right? This comes from the Odu of Ogbe Iwori. Ogbe Iwori. He who is preoccupied before long, not too far, join us in the midst of all Ire. This is what Ifa guarantees for its followers. So here we have the story of Oni Hanhan. He was a very generous and benevolent person. He loved to do so much for other people, help them in every way he possibly could, that he simply wasn't really thinking about himself all that much, right? His focus was every day that he woke up, how can I do for others? How can I make other people's lives better? When people got in fights, Oni Hanhan was there to help mitigate the situation, to make people, help people get over whatever their issues are. When people had problems with money, Oni Hanhan was there to provide them with support. When people found themselves in a position that they were sick, Oni Hanhan made sure that he was there to help those people do all of the things that was necessary in order for them to get better. Right? Oni Hanhan, there's no doubt about it, Oni Hanhan was a benevolent and wonderful person. Several in the community, even outside the community, knew of all of the good deeds that Oni Hanhan was doing. Now, here's the issue. One day, Oni Hanhan woke up. He had found that he had himself a slight headache. Things weren't quite right, but he was like, you know what? I'll be fine. I'll just, get myself going, start doing everything I need to do. I'll get through the day. He believed the headache would simply just go away on its own. So he continued on with his day. A headache can't kill me, so I will keep going and doing whatever I have to do. 3 days pass. Not only has his headache not um, dealing with his health not getting better. He's not willing to stop his task at hand. He was not willing or interested in not helping people. He was too focused on doing everything he could for those around him. But it got to a point where it got so bad that Oni Hanhan could not eat, he could not drink, he couldn't sit upright. He needed to lay down. It got to a point, it got so bad, he was essentially not able to help anyone. Couldn't even help himself to use the bathroom, nothing, right? Oni Hanhan's children, they came and they started to help him. They started to do for him, make sure that he ate, that he took his bath. They started to make sure that he could even use the bathroom, because at this point he was essentially laying down incapacitated. Right. But at this point, Oni Hanhan was still not worried about himself. The only thing that he could think about was, what would I do if I was no longer able to help anyone else? What is going to come of my life if no one can count on me? So we know Oni Hanhan's character is beyond reproach. We know that Oni Hanhan was living a life of focus and dealing with, only the only thing that mattered was like other people. So we know that he's a good person and his character was there, right? We know that. But he had simply forgotten to take care of himself. So what did Onihanhan do? Onihanhan sent a message to see if someone could get Orunmila to come to his home and cast Ifa for him, right? He needed to know if this was it, if this was the end of life for him, or if he would start to find success, right? Would he have the support of the deities in order to finish out his life strong and well? So Orunmila got this message. Orunmila was concerned. So before he was going to take his trip, like many Awos do, Babalawos do, they will see for themselves to make sure that the trip will be successful. Orunmila goes to a group of Awo, right? He wants to find out if he is going to be successful in helping Onihanhan get through the troubles that he is facing, right? So the Awos cast Ifa for Orunmila. They told him, Orunmila, you will be very successful. You'll be so successful, you'll be able to help him recover. Everything you do for him will be correct. However, it is important that you tell Onihanhan that he needs to hear the advice of Ifa. The advice that he needs to hear is that he needs to stop putting himself behind others. Because if he is not available to take care of himself, if he is not willing to see about his own health, he won't be around to help others. He needs to position himself in a place where he can be happy, healthy, and strong. And then that way he will be able to put in the help for others that he needs, that they need, right? So Orunmila heard the advice. So Orunmila makes his trip. He offers the abo for himself to go on the trip so that he can assist Onihanhan, does everything that he needs to do, and he makes his trip. So when Orunmila arrives at Onihanhan's home, he saw him in a very, very poor state. Orunmila explained to them that, Ifa says that he will get better. Ifa says that he will regain his strength and be out to help others again in no time. However, Orunmila explained to him and imparted upon Onihanhan that he had been loving other people more than he had been loving himself. That his attitude of putting himself behind others had brought him into the state that he was in at this point. He was advised to offer an abo. Onihanhan was advised to offer the abo, and he complied. He did exactly as Orunmila said. He was advised to purge his mind of worry. He was advised to use the medication that Orunmila had prepared for him and allow himself to heal, allow himself to rest, right? He agreed and complied with the advice from Orunmila. And in no time, little by little, Onihanhan started to see himself getting better. He started to see himself in a place of coming out of where he was, which was almost death. So Onihanhan continued to get better and better each day. As a result, he now considered all of the advices deeply. He said to himself, I cared more for others than I did for myself, and it put me in a place of poor health. I cared for others more than my family and anything else around me, and it put me in poor health. I drove myself to this place of sickness and almost on death's bed. So he rearranged his priority. Onihanhan rearranged his priorities. He found himself now getting better and stronger and getting back to helping people, which is what his mission was to do. Ashe. So here we have this story of Onihanhan, right? There are many of us that are out there that will often put ourselves behind others. That means that we are always available. We're so focused on, somebody reached out to me. I need to make sure that I'm there for them, right? And yes, it may be emergency, but sometimes it may not be an emergency. Sometimes they just need help, but when they're doing it, it just happens to be the time that you need to be resting yourself. From this story, we all should know that Ifa is asking us to have good character. Ifa is asking us to live a life beyond reproach. But there are times that we need to focus on taking care of ourselves, that we can't put everyone ahead of us if it's going to cause us to get sick, right? If you're one of those people who says, I need to be available for everyone every day, all the time, anybody who calls me, then take a step back and analyze, right? If you find yourself in a place where your health is not as good as it should be because you're focused on doing things for others, then you need to take a step back and analyze. If you find yourself in a place where you are focused on helping others so much that your relationship suffers, you need to take a step back and analyze, right? That is not what Ifa wants for us. Ifa wants for us to be benevolent, but Ifa also wants us to have good health. Ifa wants us to have good relationships. Ifa wants us to have the support of the community around us. But we can't do it in such a way that we bring ourselves down, right? We have to set limits for ourselves. Sometimes, even I find myself personally getting to that place. Now, I wish I was at the position to be as Oni Hanhan is, to where, I can be that person for everyone, right? To me, that does sound amazing. And then sometimes, even when I'm working to try to help others, right? Sometimes I feel like there's not a clock. And so maybe I'm answering questions or responding to emails in the middle of the night when I should be sleeping. Or maybe I am uh, offering a bow at the end of the day and I'm at the point where I'm the most tired. So I have to analyze, right? This is what is important for all of us. We have to think about ourselves. We have to make sure that if we want to help others, that we are strong enough to help others, right? We have to make sure that we're strong enough to get to the next day and to continue our mission. That is so, so important. Let's look at the Odu of Irete Ogbe. Irete Ogbe. That goes, to jump into the stream and move awkwardly up the bank of the stream, to drain out water from the sponge. These were the declarations of Ifatu Orumila, the one who abandoned his own concerns and was taking care of other people's concerns. He was advised to offer a bow, he complied. Please tell Alara that I am taking care of my concerns first. One's personal concerns are important. One's personal concerns are necessary. Please tell Ajero that I am taking care of my concerns first. One's personal concerns are important. One's personal concerns are necessary. Please tell Owa Rangun that I am taking care of my concerns first. One's personal concerns are important. One's personal concerns are necessary. This is a message that was given to Orumila himself. Now we have Orumila, our prophet. Much of Orumila's life, we know, was focused on helping others. But it got to a point where even he was facing issues, and he had to take a step back and focus on his personal concerns. He had to focus on his family. He had to focus on his health. He had to focus on his spirituality. He had to focus on his profession. He had to focus on his concerns. We have to know that we can't be available for everyone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is a challenge. If you think you're one of those people, I promise you won't make it. It's too hard, right? Set aside the things that we want to accomplish for ourselves, right? We all have our own goals. We all have our own places that we want to be. But we can't forget to take care of our concerns in order for us to get there, right? And these are the questions I always have to ask myself, and I'm asking you today, right? How good can you be? How good can you be if you are not thinking straight? How good can you be if you don't have the energy to wake up in the morning? How good can you be if you are not around for anyone? When I was younger, and many of you know that I am a musician. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time traveling, a lot of time gigging, a lot of time going from music job to music job. I'd be in Miami one day, and the very next morning at 5 a.m., I'm leaving to drive up to North Florida to play a job, only to come back down to middle of the state, then head over to the other side, the other coast, doing 50, 60,000 miles a year in my car. People used to say to me, how are you going to maintain that schedule? How are you going to do it? I found myself, as they say, burning the candle at both ends. I was always tired. I wasn't able to do my IFA studies. I wasn't able to focus on developing a relationship. I wasn't able to focus on a family. I wasn't able to, right? It was constantly, I wasn't always able to do. And so my concerns were being pushed to the side. That is a challenge for all of us, right? And I think, of course, as it happens, they say as you get older, you get a little bit wiser. Can't say I've gained a whole lot of wisdom, but as I get older, I get a little bit wiser, and I started to realize, okay, yeah, I want a family. I want to have a home. I want to have a good job. I want to have all of these things, right? I wanted to focus on my concerns so that through IFA, I could help others. But if I'm not studying, if I'm not able to wake up, if I'm not able to do all these things, right, what good am I? What good am I? So let's go to another story. This comes from the Odu of Ogbedi. Ogbedi. Teen in ring, jingiding. Teen in ring, jinging. They were the Awo who cast Ifa for Orumila when lamenting that his Ori was not strong enough, when lamenting that his health was not sound enough, when lamenting that his life was not free of contention, when lamenting that all of the Ire that he was expecting was not coming, when lamenting everything he wanted to do, the fullness of life that he wanted had not come. He was advised to offer Ebo. Now, here's another story, and I'll give you the full story for this particular Odu. So again, we have Oromila, and he is in a position where he is sad. He is tired. He's working for others constantly, but he couldn't find success. This is our prophet. This is Oromila. He could not understand that as much good as he did for so many people, why did he have so many enemies? Why did he have so many people working against him in a physical way and a preternatural way, right? This is physical and spiritual challenges that he was facing. Again, this is Orumila. He's casting, he's working, he's trying to help others. Everything Oromila did was not helping. He found himself in a place where the Ifa medicines were not taking on their purpose. They were not working. The ebos that he was offering didn't seem to bring relief. No matter what, at this particular time in Oromila's life, his reputation was being dragged through the mud, and he didn't know why. He couldn't understand what the challenges were. In spite of all the problems that he had, he kept working. He kept doing what he could do. Right? As I said in the verse, he was looking for success of the array that was promised through the dafaz. He was looking for the success of family. He was looking for the success of children. He's looking for all of these different things, and they were not manifesting. So Orunmila himself goes to a group of Babalaos. He was unhappy that all of the array that was promised and expecting had eluded him. He was asking, why must I continue to live this type of life? He asked the questions of the Babalaos. He says, what must I do to improve my life? He asked repeatedly. Right? The Awo said to Orunmila, yes, there are many challenges that you're facing. There are people who are wishing you harm from all over. There are challenges that you are facing from the spiritual world and the physical world. But they assured Orunmila that things would be okay. But they said the issue that Orunmila was facing was dealing with his own Ori. Yes, we talk about Ori. If you don't know this, Ori is the most important deity to us. That is our personal deity, our Ori, our head, our brain, our internal soul. It is a big aspect. And so Orunmila's Ori needed assistance because it was not strong enough. He needed to make an offering to appease his Ori so that he will have the support of his Ori so that things will get better. Right? So Orunmila was asked to get a set of items, two of each of these items: coconuts, imo, eda, ikun, ede, brown shrimp, money. So coconuts, I think it's like dried rats, dried fish, all of these different items, right? Half of the items were being done or given to the Ebo, and the other half was used to feed and appease his Ori. Orunmila says, Ashe. Okay, I will do as you say. He offered the Ebo, he had them offer the Ebo, and then he took care of his Ori. He prayed to his Ori for things to get better. He prayed for him to make better decisions. He prayed for himself to have the support to do the good work so that his prayers will manifest and reach Olodumare. He did exactly what he was told by Ifa. And in no time, Orunmila started to see the success. He started to see things manifesting. It was almost as if by magic. You know, us as Ifa practitioners, we know that Ifa is not magic, but the way that things can happen feels as if it is miraculous. Things can change in our life. Things can turn around for ourselves, right? We can get a dafa, and all of a sudden, as the Ebo is offered, things start to get better for ourselves. Our Ori changes. We have the support of the deities in order for our life to get better. And for Orunmila, that was no different. His Ori was changing. He was no longer being implicated by others. Things started to get better. He was making better decisions. His relationships with people were getting better. His life felt better. Right? Orunmila found himself where he was overwhelmed with joy. He took out his drums to start dancing and singing. Right? His thoughts, he says, Orunmila says, I have used coconut to feed my Ori, and my Ori became strong. I have used Edda to feed my Ori, and my health has improved tremendously. I have used Emo to feed my Ori, and my life has been free of contention. I have used Ikun to feed my Ori, and I have enjoyed my life to the fullest. I have used Ede to feed my Ori, and all of my fortune has come to me. And he sings and dances and sings the praises of the Awos and sings the praises of Ifa. So here we have the story of Orunmila and the challenges that he faced. We know who Orumila is in our faith. We know that Orumila is one who will work tirelessly for others and put himself in a place that he is not seeing, like where he finds us more important, right? Ifa is constantly working. As a matter of fact, in the diaspora, I think one of the terms that I hear so often in the diaspora is that Ifa never sleeps. Ifa never sleeps. We will work and consult Ifa until the hours of the night, right? But here was Orumila in a position where he was doing what he should be doing, trying his hardest to take care of himself, but he needed the support of his Ori. Many of us do not realize the importance of our Ori in our life. We do not. In Ifa, Ori is our connection to the Creator. Our soul is the connection to the Creator. That can't be stressed enough. That is something that we need to understand. So we need to tend to that connection. We need to pray. We need to wake up in the morning and be thankful for waking. Hold our heads, be thankful for waking up. We thank Olodumare for the successes and failures in our lives. We thank Olodumare for the lessons that we have learned. We thank Olodumare for everything that he has allowed us to have in our lives. Right? And so when we take care of our Ori, then we will begin to find success, and that's where it starts. It's not that I say you shouldn't go to Orumila. It's not that I say you shouldn't go to Eshu. It's not that I say you shouldn't go to Shango. But we should all start with our Ori. We should. Now, as I've thought about this, this particular conversation and this particular talk, something I think about is, as we're listening, you say, okay, Ifa, for self-care, what should I do? How should I start this process of self-care for myself? Let's make it simple, right? Let's go to the Odu of Otorpon Onwanri. Ifa declares that whenever we wake up, we must share wisdom with one another. We must not wake up at dawn and lay down a foundation of foolishness. Whatever we deliberate upon that is not satisfactory, let us consult our Ikin. Step one. If you are facing challenges in your life, if you are facing issues in your life where you feel like things have just been difficult and you can't find your way out, we start with divination. We start with understanding the messages, right? That is the wisdom that Ifa is giving us, is the messages from the Odu that come from Dafa. It is the messages that come with our life Odu. It's the messages that come, during Itadogun or Oshe Ifa. Right? Those messages are the wisdom that we should be using to make our life better. If Ifa says feed your Ori, we feed our Ori. If Ifa says offer Ebo, we offer Ebo. Right? We need to understand that we don't need, as Ifa practitioners, we don't have to walk this path alone. Our goal is to find the success that we're looking for, right? And live it. Without the support of Ifa, with the support of Ifa, we can start to see things turn around. Ashe. Let's go to the Odu of Owanrin Obara. Owanrin, the Awo of the riverbed. Obara, the Awo of the riverbed. Both Owanrin of the Awo of the riverbed and Obara, the Awo of the stream bed, they cast Ifa for Olun Khan when the offspring of that which is more delicious and sweeter than honey. He was advised to offer a bow. He complied. There is nothing that is more delicious than for us to wake up with sound health. Vitality is the panacea for prosperity. There's nothing that is more delicious than for one to be blessed with vitality. Vitality is the panacea for prosperity. You've heard me give this Odu before. Vitality. Ifa says there is nothing sweeter than waking up with vitality. In order for us to have vitality, we need to take care of our mind, body, and soul. So it starts with simple questions, questions that we need to ask ourselves. Are we sleeping enough? Are we giving ourselves the ability to recover? Are we feeding ourselves appropriately? Right? The body needs things. It needs things physically and it needs things spiritually. I know for myself, there are times that I will push. I will push and I will push, and then I'll get to a Sunday and it will feel like I can't do a thing. I've worked myself, I've done late nights, I've done early mornings, and I've pushed myself to a place where I get to a day like a Sunday and I have absolutely nothing left. I'm not sick, but I can't. I'm just so tired. I'll drink a cup of coffee. I'll do the things that our society says, hey, this should wake us up. This should get us going. And it is of no use. Now I know when I look back at my past week, I can see where I might have worked a little bit too hard. Is it in my job? Is it staying up too late studying? Is it doing EBO work too late? Is it answering emails? Is it there's a number of different things that I can find out in my own personal life that have pushed me to the place where I'm at a point where I don't have that vitality. It's really challenging to wake up. So we have to take breaks. We have to understand that this is what Ifa wants for us. We need to wake up with that vitality. I feel happy to say that this past week, previous weeks, I found myself exercising more, right? That has certainly helped with keeping my body in check, right? Because I'm exercising more, now my sleep is getting better, right? With better sleep, I wake up early in the morning. I'm able to study better. I'm able to retain information more. I promised myself back in January. I'm the place that I work. I'm blessed to have lunch. So the place that I work, I get to eat a salad. I eat a gigantic. I mean, this plate is filled with vegetables, and then I'll have a protein with that. And so every day for lunch, I have my giant salad and my protein. Right, I'm taking care of my body. I practice Ose Ifa. This is the spiritual aspect. I practice Ose Ifa. I practice Itadogun with our temple members. I practice trying to focus on maintaining the mind, body, and soul. It is not an easy path. I'm not going to tell you it's easy at all. I'm going to tell you it's one of the most difficult things that we can do because it is easy to give up and eat the junk food. It is easy to sit down on the couch and watch TV all night. It is easy to sleep in. It absolutely is easy to do all the things that we may not be necessarily good for us, right? So we have to make that decision. What are we going to do in order to support ourselves, right? So with this message, here's what I want for every one of us. I want us all to look at the balance in our lives, right? Something I'm sure we've all heard is if you don't love yourself, it is difficult to love someone else, right? If you don't love yourself, it is difficult to love someone else. Ask yourself that question. Are you loving yourself? If you don't help yourself, it is difficult to help someone else. Ask yourself that question. Are you helping yourself? If you don't lift yourself up, it is difficult to lift someone else up. Ask yourself that question. are you lifting up yourself? The great news is that Ifa will always provide us with guidance. Ifa will always offer us support. Ifa will always give us the information for us to live a better life. So it's important that you focus on doing those things for yourself so that you can see all of the Ire in life. Ashe. Aboru aboye. So I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for your assistance. I want to thank you for coming to be a part of the Okanran Sode Temple service messages. All right. We are looking to build a community here in Miami. We're looking for people who want to be a part of the message of understanding what the ethics and philosophy of Ifa are all about. So we're looking for people to join us to be a part of who we are here in Miami, right? So if you want to be a part of that, please come. Visit the webpage, visit our so I think our webpage name is actually, I should say this, our webpage name is actually ifatempleofmiami.org. That's our webpage. And Okanran Sode Temple is our temple name. And so on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, you'll see us in those places as Okanran Sode Temple. And our webpage is Ifa Temple of Miami. So I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed week. Thank you for joining us for today's message. Aboru aboye. Have a wonderful week.